50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow. Oh, my God. Auburn wins. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl in the most unbelievable fashion you will ever see.
Oh, welcome in everyone to a brand new edition of the Dream Wager, episode 431. Today is Monday, August 19th, 2024. Indeed, we're already cashing our futures in, kid. Before the regular season, we already get it. Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce named Gardner Minshew starter for week one. We're already cashing tickets, kid. How the hell you doing?
I'm doing good, though. Besides this rain, it's been pouring, on and off today. But besides that, shout out Gardner Minshew being named the starting quarterback. I knew right along when they signed Gardner. I was like, he's meant to be. Don't get me wrong. I think O'Connell, it's okay. Could probably develop to something. But for just right now in 2024, Gardner Minshew's the better quarterback. So shout out him and shout out the front office for making, to me, the right decision.
Plus 110 to start off our futures already in the win column. Do you think he'll have a short lease? Because Aiden O'Connell, I think he has some people on his side. The head coach liked him. He won over the locker room last year. Now, I agree, Gardner Minshew is the better quarterback. But if he messes up and they struggle, do you think this lease is short?
What's short? Like 8 weeks? Is that short to you? Because I think 8 weeks is
I think that's
good.
That's enough a sample size if you know that's your guy.
So I'm gonna say 6 to 8 weeks still. If for example, if you're 1-5, okay, we gotta go to 8. If you're 2-6, okay, we go to 8. Anything around 500 or a game under 500, I'm okay with, just because look how well the Raiders back half last season. So I'm not gonna go too crazy the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. But come week 6, week 8, if we're 1-5, 2-5, 2-6, then I might be going the other direction.
Yeah, but no, I agree. I think if they're around 500, you're going to have to keep Gardner Minshew in because he does give you the better chance as of right now. But
yeah, for 2020, this upcoming season, Gardner Minshew, slightly better quarterback.
But
I'm gonna say better quarterback.
But if they're not tanking, but if they're losing, like you said, 1-6, you gotta change it up.
Yeah, you got to just one, to give the fans a reason to cheer, and two, why not throw the kid out there? The season is most likely over. It's most likely over.
Devontae Adams is probably going to be gone then.
He's probably going to be traded week 9, week 10.
Yeah,
and you might as well start from scratch. So we'll see. I think Gardner Minshew with that defense. Let's see Aaron Jones there. We'll see how things work out.
Yeah, and Aiden O'Connell has proved that he can win some football games. Under Antonio Pierce.
Zaire White,
yeah. Also, your boy Stephon Gilmore. Shout out him, five-time Pro Bowler. He agreed to a 1-year deal, up to $10 million with the Minnesota Vikings. That's $7 million guaranteed. The defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, your boy, you met him. I think that's a great addition, a veteran in your locker room to help that secondary, and that's the area of concern for that defense.
To me, my only question to the whole NFL is, how come Stephon Gilmore wasn't in the locker room sooner? To me, he's still I'm gonna say a top 40 corner. I'm going to say maybe even a top 30 corner. I understand he's not as athletic and maybe can't move as quick as he once was. But when it comes to zone coverage, Stephon Gilmore is still one of the best out there. And I'm going to put him on top with the best of them, though. I think Stephon Gilmore, former Defensive Player of the Year with the Patriots, is a bright side, not just for the Vikings, but for any franchise out there who just wanted, a role or somebody to step in when needed and could also be a player's coach. So I think Stephon Gilmore, for $10 million, I think that's a great deal for Minnesota and Stephon Gilmore. Like I said, my only question is, how come he wasn't in the locker room somewhere sooner?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have no idea. A guy that could kind of help young guys too, a young team. And a guy like Brian Flores, who's a great defensive coordinator, I think he can use him in a way that is going to benefit and help that defense. I would say I think he's on the back end of his career. Do I think he's a top 10 quarter? Probably not, but there are games where
top 30.
I was going to say top 20, top 25, but there are going to be games where he plays like a top 10 corner. You're going to get a game ever so often where he's just going to shut your wide receiver 2 down. Now, I don't think he's going to guard your wide receiver 1 on every given day. That's just not him anymore, but he's definitely serviceable. And for 1 year, $7 million, I guess, guaranteed. I was surprised that he wasn't on the team earlier, but hey, he got in about 2 weeks left into this regular season. So good move there by the Minnesota Vikings. Bengals, they signed Evan McPherson, 3-year extension, 16.5. These kickers out here getting paid, kid.
Yeah, but you gotta remember was it his rookie year? Yeah, he had a couple game-winning field goals on the way to that Super Bowl run where they lost to the Rams. So I think the kid proved that he's the real deal just in his rookie year alone. He made the big kicks when needed, made the kicks in the frozen cold in Kansas City on the road. So you got to give the kid credit. I understand we saying these kickers are getting paid, but to be honest, when there's game on the line below freezing, you need a 47, 45-yard field goal, kid. McPherson's going to hit it.
And he's proven that he does it in a hard division, and all those teams that he plays come late in the season. Oh, it's brick. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, even in Cincinnati where he plays. So, yeah, he deserves the contract.
Come playoff time, he's going to be either in Buffalo, Kansas City, New England, the Jets. Who knows? Obviously warm teams is Houston, Jacksonville, and the Dolphins. Everybody else is going to be pretty damn cold now.
Other than that, though, preseason, Caleb Williams looked really good over the weekend. Daniel Jones did not look good. I mean,
you know who else looked good, though? Mac Jones. I ain't gonna hold you. Mac Jones, he did his thing.
100%. And I mean, even we're recording this now. It's halftime of the game between the Broncos and it's all the way at the top. And the Packers. Bo Nix. I mean, what a fucking game he's having. I mean, if he's not your quarterback one come week 1, I don't know what they're doing. 2 very impressive drives, 8 for 9, 80 yards. He had a QBR of 140, had a touchdown. So happy for Tim Patrick. Been hurt for 2 years, finally got into the end zone. So it's good to see Tim Patrick get a few catches and finally find the end zone. But Javonte Williams, he ran the ball hard, averaging 5 yards per pop. I know it's obviously not against the Green Bay's one, but this Denver team looked pretty good, kid. And Bo Nix has to be their starter.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to, I'm not going to, me, though. I'm not going to take my money to the bank all preseason, but I got to at least give the kid credit. Back-to-back performances last week did well. I kind of brushed it off, but, I'm not going to, give him his flowers, but, 2 back-to-back impressive preseason games. I think he locks up the starting job for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and then outside of that, in the NBA, your son Yabusele, the guy, you probably don't know the name. I've been practicing all day on how to pronounce his name, but he agreed to a 1-year, $2.1 million deal with the 76ers. He was a former Celtic. Then he went to Real Madrid to play over in Spain. He had a buyout. He was averaging 14 points in the Olympics, and he actually dunked on LeBron in that gold medal game. But good move for the 76ers. Another good move.
Yeah, another good move. I know you're not too proud of it, but, we saw the man perform at the highest level in the Olympics. I understand it's not the NBA, but it's pretty damn close with the competition there, though. And the kid could play. I'm not going to say kid. The girl man could play. So I like the fact that somebody was able to give him a chance. We spoke about it after the Olympics, how well he played after dunking on LeBron. Could give you, could post up on the boards and give you, good minutes and points offensively. So I think it was a great move. And for 2.1 deal, sky's the limit. I think the 76ers put themselves in a win-win situation.
Yeah, you can't beat the price of what he get, and he just adds a little more depth to that that back end, which could be injury prone. You never know what could go down. So you add a little more grit, and the guy has grit. I mean, he was giving up his body every single second in that Olympics. So you love to see it, and I'm glad he made his way back to the NBA. Before we get to our plays, I wanted to say one last thing on Bo Nix. So far this preseason, 23 for 30 and 2 touchdowns, I mean, I feel like they caught their guy. I know it's preseason. We're not going to overreact, but
Jarrett
only
Stidham did just run it in. He did just rush it in.
Yeah, I know, but
Former
to
Patriot
incomplete
great.
only 7 passes, that's impressive.
I got to give him his credit, though. You know me, I won't take much from preseason.
I know.
But the fact that the kid was able to have back-to-back, good performances, even though it's preseason, even though it's against the backups, you got to give him at least credit on that. So the fact that he went out there, performed great week 1, and honestly, probably even looked better. I didn't look at the game or tape, but I'm going to go back after the pod and look. Probably looked better in game 2 than he did in game 1. If he looks more composed, look better, goes through his first and second and third options. If I see that more in week 2 than I did in week 1, that's a major improvement.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it just builds confidence for the young guy. That's what you want. So, yeah, just wanted to say that real quick. But before we get to our two-a-days, we are going to attack the NFC South. We got the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. But before we do that, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. No wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick. Just like how we like our lives, whether it's Huckleberry playing around a golf with the boys or a new flavor coconut watching NFL preseason, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at the Dream Wager and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, kid, let's get to it. NFL two-a-days. We will start with the New Orleans Saints. I wanted to get them out of the way. I actually like the Saints this year. I'll say that. I like the Saints. I'm coming around Derek Carr. We know how high I am on Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara. There's another guy where I think we just can't overthink it. Guy I like in fantasy as well. Rahad Shaheed, another guy that goes kind of under the radar too. He could help in your fantasy league as well. I'll say this. I don't love Dennis Allen. He gives me the ick.
He's a great defensive coordinator, head coach.
It's questionable because sometimes it doesn't seem like he understands clock management and some of the things you need as a head coach, correct?
I put it this though. I would just say he's a much better DC than he is overall head coach. That's all. So
I'd say he's a bottom 5 head coach in the league.
I'm not going to agree or disagree.
Because the hesitation gives me my answer.
I'm going to say he's a top 10 defensive coordinator.
Okay. Well, one thing I do love for this Saints, though, is their schedule. Let's go through their Super Bowl odds, though. 100-1. I'm not going to touch that. NFC 40-1.
I'll give it real quick.
Yeah. Go.
A quarter of a unit.
All I'm because saying, it's there.
Happened in Tampa. Happened in LA. It's never happened in NFL history. They'll happen twice in 2020 and on. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying, he got to give it a shot. Could it happen 3 and 5 years? Got to give it a shot.
I wish they were, if it was like a year or two in the future, because I would say 2026, 2027, I think they're going to be a little better. I think maybe not this year, but I get what you're saying. NFC South, though, third best odds, plus 430, win total at 7.5, minus 130 towards the over, plus 106. We will start there. Giving them, you're giving them a quarter unit on the Super Bowl. I guess you got to do a quarter unit on the division at plus 430. I think they're live. I truly do.
You honestly think that, though?
I think if the Falcons fall flat on their face, I think the Saints win this division. I truly do, yeah.
I love it. Give me the over 7.5 wins at minus 130. I love this bet. I can see why it's at minus 130. I'm high on the Saints team. You know, I give them a sprinkle to make the playoffs. I think it's at plus 190.
Plus 190, yeah.
So I'm gonna take that. That I'll put like a half a unit on because I think they could, edge out maybe the Seahawks, maybe the Bucks, maybe the Rams to get that 7th seed. It wouldn't shock me an 8-win, 9-win team gets into that 7th seed in the NFC. We know the top 4 or 5 is loaded, but the bottom, it's gonna be a fight. for that 6 and 7 seed, and I give the Saints a shot. So give me the over 7.5 wins minus 130 and a sprinkle to make the playoffs at plus 190. Not going with the division deal, but I love the energy.
Yeah, just because I feel like if the Falcons, who we'll talk about them in a few minutes, they're favored to win the division. If they fall flat on their face, or God forbid, Kirk Cousins goes down or whatnot, I think it's up for grabs. I think clearly the division is one of the worst in the league. That's no disrespect, but it is what it is. I mean, you got the Falcons, you got the Bucks, and you got Carolina. Not the award-winning teams there, I'll say, but I love their schedule. I mean, I understand why the over is favored at minus 130. They have the 5th easiest schedule in the league. And, like I said, in one of the weakest divisions, they also play New York. They play the Chargers. They play the Commanders. There's a lot of winnable games on this schedule, especially after their bye in week 12. So I truly think they could go 5-1 in their last 6 games. I really do, especially at home. There's a lot of games at home where they need to win. I thought also play calling, and I don't know if it was Dennis Allen, but I'll give Dennis Allen some credit. This is a crazy episode. I'm actually giving Dennis Allen some credit, but I thought the play calling last year got better in the second half of the season when New Orleans played with multiple tight ends in their formation and less 3 set wide receivers. Their pass game skyrocketed. I think they should do, and I think they will do more of that this year. Also, New Orleans, they were great in the red zone last year. It may have not looked like it, but, I think that could roll over and we can see some positive regression from this team. From week 8 on, they ranked 9th in red zone conversion rate, and their goal-to-goal efficiency skyrocketed well. Went from 55% in week 7 to 83% towards the end of the year. I mean, that's just not a coincidence or just going up 5-6 numbers. I mean, they're really improving, and I think they could do that this season as well. I got to go take the over. I think Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara. I don't love the line. The offensive line worries me a little bit. I know they drafted the guy out of Oregon State, Tassili Faluga. That's going to be their left tackle for hopefully 10, 15 years. I like Shaheed in the slot. Don't love their tight end Johnson. Obviously, I like Chris Olave, but outside of that, worries me a little bit. I like their secondary with the Honey Badger as well. You got Lattimore, we'll talk about in a little, but I like this team, kid, and I think Dennis Allen, if he takes that next step as a coach, this team could be good. So you're going to sprinkle a little on the playoffs, and I don't hate it. I could see it, but I would need a better number. I think they can squeak by the Seahawks and a few other teams that you named. But anything else before we get to the player props for the Saints?
Nah, that's just about it. The over wins plus 190 to sprinkle to make the playoffs. I'm just surprised that you like the Saints. You probably like the Saints more than I do. So
I think I do.
I'm just glad to hear it. I'm just glad to hear it.
Yeah, because for people know, for the last 2-3 years, I haven't been the highest on the Saints. I know it's a tough place to place my whole life, but I'm actually coming around Derek Carr. I don't know what it is. Starting to become a little soft.
He's nice.
Is he nice? He's above average quarterback.
Yeah, he's nice.
I think nice is like a top.
Didn't he win the MVP in like 2014, 10 years ago? Like 2015?
Did he?
I think he almost won it when he was on the Raiders. When they won like 11 games.
There.
And he got hurt. Yeah, and he got hurt.
Yeah. In 2016, he almost won it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's nice. He has.
2016 is like almost 10 years ago now. That's crazy.
Hey, you wishing Jets winning a Super Bowl off Aaron Rodgers like he did 15 years ago.
Oh man, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Come on now.
Let's go to the player props, though. I want to start on the defense. Now, I mentioned Marshawn Lattimore. Now, he's a great, I would say he's a top 10.
5.
Top 5. Okay. Whatever you have him, he's a great cornerback. But he shuts guys down, whether it's your one, he travels, which I really respect. But he really doesn't pick the ball off. Now, his interception prop is at 1.5. The over is at plus 144, minus 182 towards the under. Now, I guess my argument, the last time he got over one interception was back in 2021, where he had 3. He's gone under this in 2 straight years with just 1 interception. I would argue that's because they don't throw towards the side. Can you see in a world this year where they throw a little more towards him?
The only way I can see that if we're both right and the Saints are, having a pretty good season and they're forcing the other team to throw one behind. That's the only way I can see it. Like you said, though, Marshawn Lattimore is well respected. There's not a lot of teams that's going to throw him 10 plus balls a game. Yeah. So the fact that you got Marshawn Lattimore, then you got Honey Badger behind them, it's a tough scheme, especially in the Superdome. It's a tough place to play in New Orleans, Dale. So I'm staying away because, you want to sprinkle on the over at plus 144, but to hit the under again at minus 182, to me, it's just a total stay away. But I do give him a shot to get 2, but how many opportunities he's going to get? He's probably most likely going to get the 1. Would he get the opportunities to get the 2?
That's the thing. It's a total stay away. It was just interesting because they're hanging plus 144 in front of you. They're dying for you to take it, if I'm being honest.
They want you to. Yeah.
I'm not touching it, though, because I could see another great year. And just because he doesn't have the interceptions, it doesn't mean he doesn't have a good season. So, I don't think he gets the volume. That's the problem. So, total stay away from me. Let's go to my boy, Ohio State legend, Chris Olave. We'll start with his receiving yards. It's at 1,050.5, minus 112 both ways. I want to start there because last year in 2023, great sophomore season. He went over this number. He had 1,100 yards. But even in his rookie year, he had a really good year, and he caught for 1,000 yards. So back-to-back 1,000-yard receiver. Now, he did go under it by 8 yards. Now, I'll argue he's going to have a better year with Derek Carr. So I got to go over. He's a 1,000-yard receiver regardless of who's at quarterback. He's your number 1 option. And I just think in a lot of situations against a lot of these bad defenses that they go up against, he's going to have huge games this season. So, yeah, I'm very high on Chris Olave. I'm going to take his receiving yards over.
Yeah, give me Chris Olave over 1,050.5. Coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. And to be honest, I think this season, I just have a little higher of a feeling that he's going to have a breakout year. We knew last season, Derek Carr, Taysom Hill, it was a lot of mismatch in the quarterback play. I think Derek Carr this year will be a little more consistent. Well, I'm hoping he'll be a little more consistent. Alvin Kamara is going to be there from week 1. He's either need to come week 6 and on from suspension. I think that's going to help the offense and it's going to help balance it a little more because we know Kamara is not just a rush threat. He's also a dual threat coming off the backfield, receiving the ball as well. So I think it's just having Kamara there, having a healthy Derek Carr, Rashid is going to open up the outside in the middle for Chris Olave because he plays slot in the out. So to me, he's just such an important wide receiver, and I think he's due for a breakout season, Bill. So it wouldn't shock me if he goes well over this mark. Let's just say like 1,250 or something like that. So give me over 1,050.5 at minus 112.
Love it. I'm going to stay away from the touchdowns. Excuse me. It's at 5.5, minus 108 towards the under, minus 118 towards the under. Now, he hasn't gone over in his first 2 years of the season or of his career. 2023 last season, he had 5, and then he had 4 in his rookie season. I could see him going over it, but I could also see him catch for 1,200 yards, like you said, and 5 touchdowns. They're going to give Shaheed's going to get some touches. Alvin Kamara is going to get some touches as well. They got
Jamal
the guy
Williams at the goal line.
You got Perry on the outside as well. They got Cedric Wilson. They also picked up another wide receiver. So they got some mouths to feed. Derek Carr has some weapons. So I'm going to stay away from him. But I do like his receptions over. It's sitting at 80.5, minus 112 both ways. His rookie season, he had 72. Big step up in his last year in 2023. He had 87 catches. I see the same thing around anywhere from 90 to 100 catches this season. He's the number 1, and we know when he has a good connection, Derek Carr, with his number 1 receiver, he force feeds them a lot. So I'm going to take his over receptions. You're touching his receptions or receiving touchdowns.
I end up staying away from his touchdowns total. I do agree with you, though. I think he could possibly go over. I'm just not gonna bet my money on it. And then with the receptions, though, I think he'll go for a career high 90 plus.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to the other wide receiver. We'll go to Rashid Shaheed. Say that 5 times fast. His receiving yards is at 675 and a half. Now, he went over this last season in 2023. Big jump up from his rookie season in 2022. He had 28 catches for 488 yards. But last season, really big step up, 46 catches for 719 yards. I can see it go over. I thought the number initially when I first saw it, I thought the number was a little low, if I'm being honest. I thought it was going to be around 750, around a little step up, because I do think he's going to continue to elevate. He's with a better quarterback, Derek Carr, and he's their true number 2. He's really developed into that number 2. So I would rather take, if I'm being honest, I would rather take his receiving yards over than his touchdowns. His touchdowns is sitting at 3.5, minus 108 towards the over, minus 118 towards the under. His rookie season, he only had 2, and last year he went over and he had 5 touchdowns, but it was a career year, so I don't know what to do with Rashid. So I'm going to go over his receiving yards, and I'm going to go under his touchdowns.
Yo, I end up staying away from his receiving yards. I do lean his over, but I love his over touchdowns still at 3.5. I think the number is just, frankly, I think it's just a little too low. I think he'll go even another career high, though. I think he goes for 6, maybe 7, just because I think all the main focus will be on Chris Olave. And then we saw it countless of times last year. Shaheed get those opportunities, those one-on-one deep balls there, and he beat them. That's how he got all those touchdowns. It was just all from deep balls, and that's why he got 44 receptions, over 700 yards. Still, he had over, I think, 5 or 6 40-plus yard receptions. So he's going to get a couple deep balls from Derek Carr. And we know Derek Carr can spin it. He can drop it down the chimney. And I think he'll get at least, 4 or 5 of those. And then he'll catch a few, red zone touchdowns and whatnot. So I think he's set for another career season. I'll lean the over yards, but I love the touchdowns over 3.5. It wouldn't shock me if he ends with like 6 or 7.
Let's go to Alvin Kamara. Now, this is one of my favorite Saints plays. Over 650 and a half rushing yards. He's never gone under this in his whole career, even with the amount of time he's missed with injury, suspension. It doesn't matter. He still finds a way to rush for 700 to 850, 900. He's never got 1,000 yards, but that's fine because he catches a lot out of the backfield as well. Now, I'm not going to touch his touchdowns. It's sitting at 4.5. The over is actually plus money. The under's at minus 130. And I think it's for a reason. I think 4.5 is a sharp number, but over 650 yards, I mean, that's just too low. Even, God forbid, he misses a game or two, I still think he gets over this. So, yeah, over 650 yards. Don't overthink this one.
Yeah, to be honest, I was confused why it was so short. I was like, this man had a suspension. Last year was around this number. So I'm going to go over 650 and a half. To me, it's just very disrespectful. I think Alvin Kamara, don't get me wrong, he's not as dangerous or as elite as he was, just a few years back. But don't get me wrong, if he's out there like 4th, 5th round in fantasy, I'm going to take a shot at Alvin Kamara. And at 650 and a half, I understand Jamal Williams, he's a pretty good, solid backup running back. I understand the Saints, they happen to have the highest cap in the running back room and $27 million collectively as a unit. But I expect more from Alvin Kamara deal. So 650 and a half is a little disrespectful. Maybe they expect Jamal Williams and the other guys to have an uptick in carries, but I think it's Alvin Kamara's job to lose, and 650 is just too low for him.
Yeah. Let's go to Derek Carr. Now, Derek Carr is very interesting. Another line kid where I just really don't understand. His passing yards is at 3,325 and a half, minus 112 both ways. Now, Derek Carr has only gone. No, Derek Carr has not. He's never gone under. Even in his rookie year, he threw for 3,270 yards. I mean, I guess the question is, do you think he has enough talent around him to get over 3,300? Because I do. I think we see 11 to 1,200 yards from Chris Olave, 700 to 800 yards from Rashid. Perry, he's going to have like 500 to 600 yards as well. Alvin Kamara will probably have a couple hundred himself. I got to go over this as well.
Yeah, this is another number where I'm like, are we just disrespecting the Saints offense? Or
we are, because they don't trust Dennis Allen.
If it's that, I don't know, but still 3,025 and a half. This man's never in his career went under this mark. With injury. When he missed a couple games, he's never went under this mark. I don't understand why it's so low. 10-year career, has never went under this mark. Give me the over. Put a couple units on it, minus 112.
How about his passing touchdowns? Because that's another one where it's just, I feel like it's too low, though. The last time he didn't go over 21 and a half touchdowns was in 2019, where he had 21. So he barely went under, but it's favored to go under at minus 118. And the same thing for interceptions at 10. Now, we know Derek Carr does force the ball sometimes, and he'll throw his interceptions. I'm going to stay away from both, honestly. I don't like the touchdowns, and I don't like the interceptions, but I do think in a lot of games he's going to get a lot of yards.
Still, I'm going to go over on the touchdowns. Give me over 21 and a half. He went over this mark 7 out of his 10 years in his career, and then he would have went over honestly, he would have went over 8 out of 10 if he didn't get hurt a couple years ago. So this is another number, you know, maybe if it was like 24 and a half, 26 and a half, even 25 and a half, I'll be like, okay. But 21, this man has went over this mark 7 out of 10 years. Like, I just don't understand, you know. Yeah. Maybe the Saints are due for a bad year. I don't know. But what I've seen today so far in week 2 of the preseason, and what I think they will look like come the regular season, these numbers just honestly don't make no sense to me.
Yeah, me either. I really don't understand. And maybe the markets aren't adjusting, but it's good to get in front of these numbers like we do, because we've seen it already. We've been doing the 2-a-days for about a month now, and already numbers are moving since the early days that we've been doing it. So yeah, take advantage of these numbers that we think have value. But another number where I just think it's a little too low. So that's all I got on the Saints, kid. Anything else you wanted to touch player prop wise, or maybe the NFC or win total?
That's it, Dill. That's it. You know, just the only thing I think I differ from you is I actually took the sprinkle on the playoffs. That's it.
Yeah. I do think there's a shot. I guess I just would need a little better of a number.
I think they're live for the 7 seed. I'm not saying they're gonna win the division, but they could sneak in at 7.
Let's go to the team that last week they were just making some moves, and I'm glad they made it before we previewed them. It's the Atlanta Falcons to win the Super Bowl, 26-1, NFC 11-1, fifth best odds. NFC South minus 145. They have the best odds. I'll take that immediately. Win total 9.5 over minus 142. Gonna take that. The unders at plus 116 to make the playoffs minus 205. I am going to take that as well. So I'm going to take them to win the division, kid. I'm going to take them to go over 9.5 wins. And obviously they're going to make the playoffs if they win their division. And I'll start the win total, I guess, by saying this. Like, I was high on Atlanta last year. I think it was false hope in Desmond Ridder. Let's just say that. But to say their passing game got better, I think is an understatement. You know, getting Zach Robinson, you know, they changed the whole staff. Get Raheem Morris. He was the Rams DC last year. They bring in Zach Robinson. He was the Los Angeles quarterback coach last season. And then they also bring in the Rams assistant head coach and Jimmy Lake, and he'll take care of the defense this year. But, you know, getting Zach Robinson as their new OC, signing Kirk Cousins to that big deal, you know, they ranked 5th last season. Kirk Cousins, he ranked 5th last season in accuracy to his wide receivers. Desmond Ridder, do you know what he ranked in accuracy to his wide receivers?
I'm going to say bottom third. I'm going to say 36.
Very close, 34th.
Wow.
They added weapons on the outside. Darnell Mooney, Rondell Moore. I love those weapons. They're not household names, but they fit what they want to do in that offense perfectly. They got plenty of weapons. You got Drake London, you got Bijan Robinson as well. Kyle Pitts. I still believe in you, Kyle Pitts. I know people don't, and he's kind of been a fantasy bust a couple years, but it's been the quarterback play. Now that he has old Kirk Cousins, watch out for Kyle Pitts. But yeah, I think they have a very easy schedule as well. They actually have the easiest schedule in the league. They face the easiest run defenses, so expect a big year from Bijan Robinson. First six of the 9 games this season are at home. They need to win those games. Tough place to play inside. It's going to favor Atlanta. They need to win those games. So being home 6 of the first 9 games of the season, I think it really helps the team. And it may not have looked it last season, but their defense got a lot better from 2022, where they were bottom 5 in all major metrics. 2023, they were 4th in run defense, 6th in defensive efficiency, 10th in early success rate, 3rd on 3rd down, and they were 1st in the red zone. They were a top 10 defense last season. They just had no fucking quarterback. That was their problem. So I'm very high on this team. You go out and get a pass rusher that they've been dying to get for about 2 years now in Matthew Judon. You help that secondary. You bring in Jesse Bates in the offseason. You bring in Justin Simmons, another Pro Bowler. I think they're alive, kid. I really think this team could, if they start getting hot at the end of the season, I think they can make the NFC Championship. I really do. If they all stay healthy, that's the key. But if Kirk Cousins goes down, it's over. It's over. Unless Michael Penix Jr. is the truth.
If you tell me Kirk Cousins is going to lead the march, and then come playoff time, Michael Pittman Jr. leads them to the NFC Championship game, then you might have me there. But Kirk Cousins to win 2 games to get to the NFC Championship game, I don't think so.
What if they get the 1st seed? That's possible with this schedule. They have the easiest schedule in the league. And what if they just have the best number or the best record? They could sit around. I think San Francisco might. We'll talk about them in a few days, but I think they might drop off a little. Who knows? Green Bay's getting better. Detroit might take a step back. I think the NFC is wide open, especially compared to the AFC. So I think the Falcons are legit if their quarterback situation is good.
I just gotta see Kirk Cousins win a couple big games. Then, and it's like Tua, I expect them to be great regular season. Till they win the playoff game, though, it's just all hopes and dreams. All hopes and dreams still. But with this team, I'm gonna go over the 9.5 win total. This team was able to win 7 games last year with Denzel Ritter and Tyler Heineke at the quarterback. And not for nothing, Arthur Smith, I'm not going to talk bad about him. I think he did the best he could. But Raheem Mostert is just an upgrade at the head coach. Let's just be honest, people. So, with the additions of Raheem Mostert and Kirk Cousins at the quarterback position, I think that easily gets you at least 2-3 games still. So, if you was able to win 7 games last season with that quarterback, I think Kirk Cousins gives you at least 3 to 4. Just off the strength. So give me the over 9.5 wins. Give me to win the division at -145. I'm not going to touch to make the playoffs. But I like the Falcons. I like where they're headed. I like the fact at first I didn't like the draft pick of Michael Pittman Jr. But Michael Penix Jr. I understand why they did it now. Just because they don't want to be good now. They want to be good for the next decade, 15-year plus. So I respect it. I think Kirk Cousins has a chance to do something special. It's just, will he do it?
You have them winning the division?
Yes.
I didn't. Okay. I didn't hear you. My fault. That's on me. But yeah, I agree. And, they're in win mode now. They're not in rebuild. So God forbid if Kirk Cousins does go down, they're really not tied to him all that long. This year, next year, and he has the option on the 3rd year. So, and Michael, now you got me saying Pittman. Michael Penix Jr., he's a rookie, so he's going to have to play in about 2 years. So they have to see what they get from him. But yeah, I agree. They're in win now mode. So God forbid he goes down, they could just plug him in. And they already shut him down, kid. Raheem Morris came out over the weekend, and I'll read a quote right from him. He goes, "Mike showed us last week enough. We don't need to play him again the rest of the preseason." I kind of agree. If I'm being honest, you don't need to go out there and try. You know what you have in Michael Penix Jr. He's elite. He's accurate. He has a big arm. Go learn from Kirk Cousins. Go read the playbook. You don't need to go out there. We know what you could do. So, I like the draft pick. I like what they added. Their schedule, kid. I mean, the reason I brought up the 1 seed is just because I truly believe they could win. I counted 11, 12 games. They're favored in 13 games this season, kid. That's insane. I mean, this is one of the biggest bump up in win totals and Super Bowl odds and NFC odds from one year to another. This was not a good team last year. And for them to get this much respect from the bookmakers, I think is very telling. I mean, from week 4 till their bye, they're favored in 8 games in a row. I mean, you're at home against the Saints, at home against the Bucks. You play Carolina, Seattle, Bucks. You're home against Dallas, which is the tough game. You're only 1-point favorite, which that could change. And then your next 2 games is on the road against the Saints, and then you're on the road against Denver, and then you get your bye. I mean, I really don't see a loss. Maybe they lose to the Cowboys.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. They could do it. They could possibly do it. As just like their first 4 games of the season are tough. You know, they could easily start 0-3. I doubt it, but they can. You don't think they could lose to the Pittsburgh Eagles or the Chiefs?
I think they could lose to the Chiefs, definitely. But it is at home. I think they could lose to the Eagles. I don't think they lose to Pittsburgh at all. And I don't think
give Pittsburgh a shot.
No, I don't.
Wow.
And I don't think they and as much as respect as I do give the Saints and how much I like them, I think the Saints have a better chance week 10 at their place.
No, I agree. But I give Atlanta a shot to start 0-3 though. Pittsburgh is they're gonna come and play. That defense is gonna come and play. Don't get me wrong. I like Atlanta, Dill, but I just told you I got them over 9.5. All I'm saying is I did pencil in 0-3 start.
Yeah, I don't see a world that they start 0-3. I think
you see 1-2.
I see it. I don't think it's likely, but
so
I could see it.
You think they beat the Steelers and the Eagles to start the season?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's on Monday Night Football too. So that's why I really like it as well.
Wait, the Eagles play the Falcons
Monday night? Yeah.
In Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And you think the Falcons are going to win that game?
Yeah, go on the road and win that game. Yeah.
Wow.
They're only 3-point underdogs to Philly, and they're 3-point underdogs right now to Kansas City. Other than that, they are, and like I said, they're 1-point underdogs to the Cowboys. Those are the only 3 games that they are underdogs in. And those are the 3 losses that I penciled in.
Wait, you want to give them 3 losses?
Yeah, I gave them Philly. Philly could win. I think Kansas City beats them, and I think they could.
You don't think the Bucks could win a game at home?
No, I'm not really. I'm not high on the Bucks this year. I think the Saints are better.
You don't think the Raiders can have a game against the Falcons?
No, absolutely not.
Yo, Dell. Oh my.
I don't. Not at all. I know you're high on the Raiders, but I don't think that. I think they're going to be a bottom 10 team this year, the Raiders. So I'm not high on them at all. I look at the teams they play: Washington, Carolina twice. They play Minnesota. They play the Chargers. Chargers aren't good. They play Seahawks. They're not good. After week 3,
the Seahawks are decent, though.
I don't think they're good. It's Geno Smith. Trust
me.
me.
They're decent, though. They're decent. You can't just discredit them like that. You know, the
Falcons got better.
I understand that, Dill, but the fact that you don't think the Steelers or the Eagles have a chance to win is nuts.
No, I gave them the Eagles are going to lose.
No,
I think it should be a good game. You just said
Atlanta's going to go to Philadelphia and win.
I want them, and I'm probably going to bet them, but
no, but what?
I told you. I said I have 3 losses: the Eagles, Kansas City, and Dallas. That's it.
That's nuts.
How is that nuts?
So you got them sweeping the division. You got them going 8-0 in the division.
Outside of the Eagles, what team improved more than the Atlanta Falcons on this schedule?
you can't look at it like that.
But they did.
They improved,
I am.
but the Steelers improved.
They didn't get that much better. Look at the
improved.
quarterback situation. They still haven't named a starter. The jump from Kenny Pickett to Russ is not the jump from Desmond Ridder to Kirk Cousins. Not at all. It's not. No, it's not. It's not even close. The numbers that Kirk Cousins put up compared to the numbers that Russ put up
are close.
No. From what they went for, Kenny Pickett was 5 times better than Desmond Ridder.
No.
Okay.
I'm
just saying, no one on this roster besides or on the schedule improved. The Falcons improved on both sides and a head coach. And the defense was already good. I just read you the numbers. They're a top 10 defense. And they got better with Matthew Judon. Now they're actually going to get a pass rush. They got Garrett up the middle. They got Jesse Bates. Now their secondary is good. They got Terrell. Terrell's a shutdown corner. He's a top 10 corner in the league.
I just want to make a bet with you. I bet you they start 1-2 to start the season.
No, I could see that.
But
I just said that. You're not listening. I said I have the 3 losses.
You say, yeah. And I'm telling you, they're going to start 1-2.
And I said I could see that.
But you only have 3 losses in the whole schedule.
Yeah, which is come in the first 3 weeks. Kansas City and Philly. That's 1-2. Is that not?
I understand, but the fact that you only have 3 losses,
I don't understand how it's so alarming how high I am on the Falcons.
No, but 3 losses is nuts, kid.
But they don't play anyone. Besides the Chiefs and the Eagles and the Cowboys, and we'll see how the Cowboys are.
The fact that you have them going 8-0 in the division,
the division is the worst division in football. It's not like they're playing Goliaths. They suck. Carolina is the worst team. Tampa is not good.
The Bucs are not good.
They're going to be under 500 this year.
They're better.
I think the Saints are better than them. I think the Saints should be the second best team. I think there's a chance the Saints could win. Like I said, I think they could win week 10 at New Orleans, but
I got Saints winning the game. I got the Bucs winning the game. They both going to win their home games against Atlanta.
I don't that's fair. I could see it. I honestly, if you want to give a dark horse on this schedule to possibly upset the Falcons, I would do right after the bye, the Chargers, if anything. I think that's a better team than any of the teams in their division. I think the Chargers could go out there and possibly upset. And this is all hypothetical because we don't know history with the injury wise with the Atlanta Falcons. But no, I'm very high. I think Steelers are the worst team in their division. So I really don't think all that highly. I think Falcons actually beat them up bad week 1. I think I'm going to lay the 4.5. I think I've already done it. But no, I could definitely see them losing week 2 and week 3. Those are their 2 toughest games. And then we'll see week 9. We'll see against the Cowboys. But yeah, I think they have I know they have the easiest schedule in the league. So yeah. And then that's why I think there's a shot, like I said earlier, to get the 1 seed. But it all stems on if they all stay healthy. So anything else? Well, obviously you have them winning division. You got them going into the playoffs -205. No value there. Anything else before we get into player props? Because there's a bunch of guys we can talk about.
Just player props though.
All right, let's go to Jesse Bates. Interesting guy. -2, over under 2.5 interceptions. He had 6. He was top 5 last year. He was just a ball hawk from that safety position. He had 6 interceptions last year. 2022, he had 4 interceptions as well. I mean, I got to go over this number just based on the fact that since they're playing in a weaker schedule, I feel like there's going to be a lot of garbage time where they're just kind of be airing the ball out. And 2.5 interceptions for a top 5 safety, I think is a little low. So it's favored for a reason. I would go over 2.5 interceptions.
Yeah, Jesse Bates is just a ball hawk, and I think he'll get these opportunities, like you said, late in games when, they're just going to force things down the field, try to win the game or, whatever, rally back. And I think Jesse Bates is just going to, find his way to the ball. So I think at 2.5, don't get me wrong, -126 is not the the sexiest number, but you guys just look at what he's been doing in his career. He's going to get to 3 or 4.
100%. It's gone over this, like I said, this number in 2 straight years. So, yeah, another big year from Jesse Bates. I think that was a really big factor to help out that secondary. Let's go to my guy Drake London. Over under his receiving yards is at 1,500, minus 118 towards the over, minus 108 towards the under. Now, last year he had 905 yards, a little step up from his rookie year, 866.5. You got to imagine with Kirk Cousins, he's going to take that next step. He only needed 95 more receiving yards, and he did it with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. So I think with Kirk Cousins, he's going to get 1,000 yards. Just look how much Justin Jefferson elevated with a guy like Kirk Cousins. I think Drake London might take that next step. So yeah, I'm surprised they only bumped it up that little. So I'm going to go over 1,000 yards for Drake London.
Yeah, Dale, to be honest, give me the over, and then I want to juice it up, Dale. I think Drake London can honestly have a career year. I think Drake London has a chance. I give it a sprinkle, Dale. To be honest, I give it a sprinkle to lead the league at receiving at plus 2,900.
Wow.
Yeah, I give him a shot. Don't get me wrong, Tyreek, CD, Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
But other than that, those heavy favorites, I give him like the other guys in competition that has better odds. I give him a shot to have more yards than Amon St. Brown. I give him more shot to have more yards than A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Puka Nacua. That's all. I'm not saying, but realistically, I think Tyreek should be the favorite and CD. I don't know what Justin Jefferson going to do, with Sammy D. Let's see how that works out. But in my opinion, the two favorites should be Tyreek Hill, CD Lamb, Jamar Chase as well. But I think Drake London should have at least better odds. I think 2,900 with Kirk Cousins, to me, it's a pretty good number for his talent.
Yeah. What I'm not going to touch is his receiving touchdown. I think it's too high at 6.5. Now, I do think he could have a career year, and I think he will have a career year. He's going to get over that 1,000-yard mark finally. But his rookie season, he actually had more touchdowns. He had 4 touchdowns. Last year, bad, only 2 touchdowns. Now it's up to 6.5. Yeah, no, trust me. I know. I've lost a lot of money on Atlanta last year. Yeah, minus 126 to the under. Now, like you said, the minus 126 for the Jesse Bates prop. I don't like laying that much juice on a 7-month prop, if I'm being honest. I kind of like to invest more of my money on plus money plays or even money at least. But I would lean under if you got, I guess, just throwaway money. You want to bet the under on Drake London. But I would actually take his under receiving touchdowns. Any play for you?
I'm gonna go over 6.5. Don't get me wrong. I do agree with you. Yes, it's a little high, but like I said, though, I expect him to have a career year with Kirk Cousins. This is the best quarterback he's gonna have so far in his career since college. And like I said, though, I'll give him a shot to lead the league in receiving yards. That's gonna come with the opportunities with the touchdowns. Don't get me wrong. I'm expecting to have like 10 plus, but to go over 6.5, though, I think the kid could get for at least 8. So give me over his receiving and over receiving touchdowns as well at minus 102.
Yeah, I'm going to take his receptions over. It's at 81.5. Now, I think this is a reasonable uptick. Now, he dropped actually, but only by 3 catches. His rookie year, he had 72, and then last season, he had 69. He's going to catch a lot more balls from Kirk Cousins this season. So I'm going to take it based on principle. I think he could get 10 more catches. So over 81.5 receptions. It's a little better odds at minus 112 as well. Any opinion on that?
Still, like I said, he's having a career year. Everything over Drake London.
All right, let's go to Kyle Pitts now. Trust me, I know I've died on the Kyle Pitts hill, especially rookie year, going over 1,000 yards. Then he had the drop in 2022, got hurt. He only had 356 receiving yards last year. A little better of a year, 667. This year, his prop is at 775.5. We all know how much Kirk Cousins loves his tight ends. Big year for Kyle Pitts. You think he could get back to that 1,000-yard mark?
No, but I'll give him a shot to be around 800. I doubt 1,000. To me, that's a lot of yards for the amount of talent on his team. For him. But I give him a shot to go over it. I don't love it. but I give him a shot to be around 800 yards. I give him that, and then 4.5 touchdowns. Still, hate to say it, I'm going under 4.5 on -126. Do I think he could get to 3 or 4? Yes, but he never got to this number in his career. Don't get me wrong, Kirk Cousins love his tight ends, and I wouldn't be shocked if he goes over this mark. I just won't bet it. They'll give me the under 4.5 on -126.
If he could get back to that rookie season, Kyle Pitts, that was the best Kyle Pitts we've seen. If he could get back to it, I would lean over, but I'm not. Like I said, I don't like the odds, -126, and I could see another season where he has 3 or 4, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mouths to feed on this team. And Kirk Cousins, say what you want about him, he does like to spread the ball around a little bit. So I would stay away from the touchdowns. His receptions, another one I like 64.5 over. Like I said, last year he only had 53. We could get rid of 2022. He was hurt. But 2021, he had 68 receptions. I mean, his rookie year, if he could get anywhere from 65 to 75 receptions, I think this is going to be a really good season for Kyle Pitts. I think he gets a little closer to 1,000. Maybe I'm a little higher on this team overall, but I think he could have a really big year. Let's go to the guy, Bijan Robinson, out of the University of Texas. Now, he had a really good rookie year, 214 carries for 976 yards. Only 4 touchdowns, though. If we look at his rushing yards, it's at 1,500. He was very close. He missed it by 24 yards. I think he goes over it this year. Now, I do expect them to pass the ball a little more with Kirk Cousins and not lean on Bijan as much. But Bijan Robinson is so explosive. And once he hits that hole, he kind of reminds me of Jonathan Taylor, where he hits that second or third gear and he's just out on the sideline. So he has really big burst speed up the sideline, and I think he could get 1,000 yards this season.
Dill, give me over 1,500 at -112. I think Bijan is set for a career year. I understand it's just a second season, but don't get me wrong. I see why you're thinking that way, Dill, but I think they're going to be a rush dominant team at first and ease in Kirk Cousins. Let's not remember, he's coming off that Achilles injury. I just don't think they're going to snap back and drop back, 30, 40 plus times a game. Let's just say for the first 5 weeks of the season. I think Bijan, you drafted him high for a reason, and I think you're going to force feed him, Dill. So give me Bijan over 1,500, Dill, and give me Bijan to lead the league in rushing at +850. You said the stat earlier perfectly. They face the weakest rush defenses in all of the NFL, and I think Bijan would take advantage of that. I think Kirk Cousins will take advantage of that with the audibles, Dill. They're going to be worried about the Kyle Pitts, the Drake Londons, the weapons outside, Dill. B-Ron, like you said, Dill, we're not worried about what he could do, in the first 5 yards. You're worried about what he could do in the second there. When he hits that second, third gear, he's gone. We saw it multiple times last season, and I think the kid is just going to be a little more improved. And with Kirk Cousins, I think this is going to help the balance of the offense. So give me the over 1,500 and give me a shot at him to lead the league in rushing at +850.
I love it. Yeah. I think in fantasy, you got to take him.
And real quick, Dill, this is what I was telling you before the pod started. After doing these futures, I will suggest to anybody listening, and I will be taking Bijan Robinson in my first round of any fantasy team I draft. Hopefully, I get him in all my drafts. I think Bijan with Kirk Cousins is due for a breakout year, rushing and receiving the ball.
I mean, even the defenses that you would expect to have a big game, like Pittsburgh, I think he could have a big game. Philly, all these games that
the only tough place he's honestly going to not struggle, but just be a little tougher game for him. I think it's going to be Tampa, just because you got Vea, you got that big front line, and then also the Saints still. But besides that, it's multiple games out there on that schedule where you can have 150 plus.
Yeah. I mean, the last 4 or 5 games of the season, he could have an easy 100 yards per game. So, yeah, I love it. I sprinkled a little on Breece Hall bias to lead the league in rushing.
Biased, but I give him a shot. But realistically, look at the defenses they're going to be
Oh, yeah.
matching up in.
Of
You
course.
know?
And that's why I wouldn't surprise me if Bijan did. And I hope he does. I know he's only had 1 year in the NFL, but man, he's easily a top 10
Yeah.
running back
Don't get me wrong.
already.
I'm very high on Bijan. I'm not as high as the Falcons, but I think Bijan, it wouldn't shock. I highly doubt he's in MVP conversations, but it wouldn't shock me if he possibly walks out with Offensive Player of the Year.
If he rushes for 1,500 yards and they get the 1 seed, hypothetically, he's in the conversation. He has to be.
His over-under touchdowns is a 6.5. His favorite at -128.
I know.
It wouldn't shock me. Let's just say he goes under the mark. Let's just say he gets 6 rushing, 4 to 5 receiving. I think that's pretty damn great.
I agree. Big year from Bijan. And yeah, like you said, if he falls to me, I have to take him.
Yeah.
Let's go to Kirk Cousins. Oh, Kirk Cousins. We'll start with some season prop. Comeback player of the year. Now, we had Ryan Kramer on, and he was saying maybe sprinkle a little on Daniel Jones. Maybe not after last preseason game I saw, but Kirk Cousins, he has the 3rd best odds for comeback player of the year at +500. If he stays healthy, does he have a shot?
I'd give him a shot. I just feel like this, Daniel Jones, possibly Joe Burrow. Let's see what that looks like, But I definitely give Kirk Cousins a shot. It all depends how good he looks to start the season because, those numbers could pile long. But let's just, for example, let's just say he starts the season, first 3, 4, 5 games, 300 yards apiece. It's gonna be hard to deny that for Kirk Cousins, And I give your boy Aaron Rodgers a shot. Let's just say Aaron Rodgers go out there, averages 280 plus, couple tutties, very low interception mark. Though I think he has a shot as well. So I think Kirk Cousins definitely worth a sprinkle. I just feel like there's other names out there that's just more popular, you could say.
Yeah. Let's go to his passing yards, 3,800 and a half. I mean, maybe I'm delusional or whatnot, but this is just another number where I don't understand why it's not closer to 4,000. I mean,
he's coming off a tornado.
Yes,
Achilles.
but he has so many weapons. Drake London, Kyle Pitts. You got Rondell Moore on the slot. You have Tyler Algier. You have Darnell Mooney that they just got. They have so many weapons, and granted, he is coming off a very bad injury. But when healthy, and when you give him weapons on a ton of weapons, he has a field day. There's not a season besides 2019 and last year where he got hurt, so we could count out that. Outside of that, he's gone over this number in 3 straight seasons. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards. So I think he has 4,000 yards. I think the number is just too low. I'm going to go over that. I'm going to go over his touchdowns as well at 26.5. It's at -118. I think we see anywhere from 30 to 35 touchdowns. I think Drake London has a big year. I think Kyle Pitts goes over his as well. So I go over that. I'm not going to touch his interceptions. It's at 9.5. The over is at plus money, +112. The under is at -142. I could see a situation where, like you described, first few games, especially the first 3 games where you argue they are the toughest games on that schedule.
And those are pretty good defenses as well.
They might run the ball a little more. So I think I think Raheem Morris wants to cut out all the turnovers.
And he's a more defensive guy as well.
Yeah, so he might play it a little more close to the belt, a little more conservative. So I agree. They early in the season where they can't afford to
start
get the
3,
or they get the game out of control. Mm-hmm. Let's control what we can control. Let's run the ball. Let's play defense. And, let's keep this game close. If Kirk Cousins starts throwing these picks, the game's going to get out of reach, especially against Kansas City and Eagles, where they could put up 30 to 40 points in a blink of an eye. So, yeah, I'm going to stay away from the interceptions because I do think he could have a better year and not force the ball. So I'm going to stay away from the interceptions, but I'm going to go over his passing touchdowns and I'm going to go over his passing yards.
Yo, give me over 3,800 and a half. I don't understand why this number is. I understand why coming off the Achilles injury, but I agree with you. It should be around 4,000. He's went over this mark 7 out of his 9 years, and I will say 7 out of his last 8. But he got hurt last season. Yeah. We both know with T.J. Hawkinson, Addison on the outside, Justin Jefferson we know he would have been well over 4,000 once again. So I think this number looking wrong due to injury. I understand, but it doesn't make no sense. Over 38.5 at minus 112, and then over 26.5 passing touchdowns at minus 118. You can see why it's at minus 118. Even Vegas knows it. This is a short number with the offense and the weaponry he has today. I'm not going to say it was better than what it is in Minnesota, but it's right there.
It's right there.
It's right there. Definitely the best running back he has ever had. So I think Bijan catches a few. Like I said, I think Drake London has a career year. I think he goes for at least 8+. Kyle Pitts, I think he gets to at least 4. And then these other guys like Mooney, he's going to catch a couple. Rondale Moore going to catch a couple. So, yeah, I think he'll get at least to 28, 30. I give him at least 30.
No, I agree 100%. So big year we're thinking from the Falcons. Me, a little more, but still, Elvis has him going to the playoffs. So some positive.
It's just me being honest. Until Tua wins the playoff game, till Kirk Cousins win that playoff game, I'm good. They need to prove me wrong otherwise. The only reason why I like Jordan Love and more than you do, Jordan Love won the game. Boy, it was a 7.5 point underdog on the road. Went in there, won that thing, Dill. Kirk Cousins has multiple opportunities. Tua had multiple opportunities. So they just got to show me, Dill. They just got to show me. Kirk Cousins, I love him. That's Ken Folk Cousins. That's my first cousins. But come playoff time, even come those primetime games. So it was a question mark, Dill. So it was a question mark. I just got to I got to personally see it come playoff time.
And these are all fair criticism. I can't fault you for thinking that. But hey, you have him get into the playoffs, and that is a positive step forward for this organization. If Raheem Morrison could get to the playoffs and win their division, I think that's a win on the season in itself. They could get bounced in the first round, but that's a win.
And to be honest, I think we gotta put him in consideration. I'm gonna look at the odds right now, but coach of the year, you gotta.
He has the third best odds at 12-1.
You gotta give him a shot, Dill, at plus 1,200. I think Jim Harbaugh. I love Jim Harbaugh, but I think the Chargers. I think you would agree as well. I don't think they'll be that great. Matt Eberflus, don't get me wrong. Chicago.
If the Bears bug out,
don't get me wrong. Caleb Williams has a chance to tweak.
Yeah,
he could tweak and have a great season. I'm just not a fan of Matt Eberflus. I think Matt LaFleur has a chance with Green Bay. I think Raheem Morris has a chance, and I think DeMeco Ryans has a chance.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they're a lot, and I think in the regular season we've had a good eye on Coach of the Year. Like midway through the seasons, the past few years, I feel like we've called out the Coach of the Years, going back to Dan Campbell. But yeah, kid, we will take care of the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Friday. But let's go over to the MLB. Like I said, 10 games here on a Monday. And if I'm being honest, kid, I hated the slate. Only 10 games. And Sunday, I'm coming off a 4-0 day. So I want to tread lightly, if I'm being honest, but I'll let you lead. I think you have a little more plays than me. What do you like, kid?
Yeah, Dale, let's start it off. Baltimore heading to your New York Mets, going to Queens. Baltimore Orioles taking on the Mets. Over under sitting at 8.5. Trying to find the pitching matchup, Dale. Don't have it yet, but you're Mets still. We saw them kick up, like about a month ago. The Orioles has just been a powerhouse ever since, about 15, 20 games ago. I think they're right back in it, ready to make that playoff push still. The Mets, they're better, but at home, I still don't think y'all could get the job done. So give me one of my dogs of the day, Baltimore Orioles, plus 112 on the money line.
Yeah, so the pitching matchup tomorrow between the Mets and the Orioles, you got David Peterson going for the Mets, who he's been actually really good for the Mets this year, surprisingly. And then for the Orioles, it's going to be Dean Kramer. Or it might be Trevor Rogers. I think it's undecided.
It's going to be Trevor Rogers.
Yeah, Trevor Rogers. So do I think the Mets deserve to be the favorite? Yes, but I'd be worried about taking them. They just lost today against the Marlins, and Marlins have given us fits all season. So Gonna stay away from that game. Hopefully the Mets do win. Big series, though, against first place team Orioles. I'm going to go to your team, the Boston Red Sox, taking on the Houston Astros. Tanner Houck going for your Red Sox, and Yusei Kikuchi going for the Astros. Minus 122 for the Astros, plus 106 for the Red Sox. Over under is at 8. Yeah, this number is just too low for me, kid. I mean, on the road, we know how good the Red Sox have been on the road this season, kind of way better than they have been at Fenway. The over 35-23 towards the over away from Fenway. They've gone over this number in 3 of their last 4 games. Houston, they've been playing in a lot of low-scoring games, but against Yusei Kikuchi, gives up a ton of contact. Tanner Houck, up and down, very inconsistent as well. I think we could see runs here. So 8 seems a little high for 2 top 5 offenses as well. I'm going to take the over 8. I think we can see a shootout here. So that's going to be my one and only play, kid.
I love it, dude. I love it. Next play, Pittsburgh taking on the Texas Rangers, going down to Arlington. Over under sitting at 8.5. This one, we have no pitchers lined up yet, but don't love it, but I'm going to go with the Rangers in this one. I understand that the Pittsburgh finally won 2 out of 3 at home, but was at home. They've been struggling past, 10, 12 games. And I think they're going to go back to that, that Rockies place they were in, Dale. I understand they just won 2 out of 3, but I think they go back to losing ways, going back on the road. Tough place to play in Arlington. Don't get me wrong, don't love the Rangers right now, but in my opinion, I just think they're a little better than the Pirates. So give me the Texas Rangers on the money line, minus 126. And then my final play of the day will be the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Kansas City Royals. You boy Seth Lugo on the mound taking on Fulmar. What's his name?
Carlos Fulmar, yeah.
Yeah, Carlos Fulmar. I don't do it often, people, but I'm going to lay it. Give me the run line with Kansas City with Seth Lugo on the mound at plus 105. Won 4 straight games. Struggle line Angels to me. I've been telling you all season long, fade this team. And I think right now, Kansas City's been rolling. Seth Lugo on the mound, trying to get that Cy Young. Perfect opportunity to get it. Beat a dead horse. So give me Kansas City on the run line, plus 105.
I love it, kid. Let's have a day on the diamond. Let's try to stay hot. I'm easing back into the baseball. I had a really good day on Sunday. I don't kind of overforce anything, so I'm going to keep the money in the account for Monday. Shout out Caitlin Clark, man, breaking the rookie, bro. She was balling coming out. She needed the break, and she's looked amazing. They blew out the fucking Seattle Storm today at home. Great win for them. Caitlin Clark, 9 assists, 23 points. Turnover still turning the ball over, but she just broke the rookie record for all-time assists. Big win for the Liberty over the weekend. Big win. They beat the Las Vegas Aces. They clinched a playoff spot already. Vegas, they bounced back today. They beat the Sparks. Atlanta, big win at home against Connecticut as well. And Angel Reese is just a continued rebound machine. If her rebound prop, anybody listening out there, is 12, 13, over. It was at 12.5 today. She has 14 right now, and it's only midway through the third. That's all she does. She just dominates the glass. So that's her and Jason Tatum are the most rebound prop I love. So I was on that tonight. But WNBA start, and hey, we're a few weeks away from the playoffs, kid.
Yeah, let's get into it. I like the fact that the Fever and Caitlin Clark, though, they look like a definitely different team since the start came back from the Olympic break and whatnot. They might be making some noise come playoff time. I like that Chicago as well. Caruso down low, Angela Reese still come playoff time. They'll that size down low might make some noise. And Caitlin Clark, though, we know she could get to the big game back-to-back seasons and see if she can make another deep push come playoff time.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, they like I said, the Liberty 23-4. They've clinched the playoff spot. They've won 6 in a row, dating back before, I guess the Olympic break. Connecticut 19-7, but Indiana and Chicago right there. Indiana 13-15, Chicago 11-15. So they're right on the outside looking in. And if Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese get their both team respectively to the playoffs, great rookie year, right?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I think Angela Reese, to me, she exceeded expectations. We knew what Caitlin Clark is gonna be and will be, but I think Angela Reese is still 8th overall. Looking back at it, 8th overall, I think Chicago got even more than what they anticipated.
100%. So can't wait for that. Yeah, no games on Monday for the WNBA. They're reset back on Tuesday. So any last words, kids, before we get up out of here?
That's all, Dale. Hopefully the rain stops and we can have a great week. And then we'll be back on Thursday for you guys. Well, Thursday night, Friday on this Friday episode.
Yes, sir. Good luck, everyone, with all your bets this week. And that's going to do it for this Monday edition of the Dream Wager. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Elvis, myself, make sure you guys follow along our social media, Twitter and Instagram at the Dream Wager. If you missed any of our episodes, no worry. You guys can find us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We go live on YouTube, like Elvis said, every Sunday and Thursday. Next week, we are back to 3-a-days. This is the last week of our 2-a-days, and then we're back to 3 days a week. So yeah, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, rate, give us a review, leave in the comments who you'll be betting on this week. All that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend. Good luck on your bets, and we will see you guys on Friday.